George Stoneman, August 8, 1822, September 5, 1894, was a United States Army cavalry officer, Union general during the American Civil War, and the 15th governor of California. His military career spanned 36 years, marked by significant contributions and notable setbacks across multiple conflicts, including the Mexican-American War, the Yuma War. Early life and education. Born on August 8, 1822. In Buste, New York, Stoneman was the first of 10 children of George Stoneman Sr., a lumberman and Justice of the Peace, and Catherine Rebecca Cheney. Education. He attended Jamestown Academy in New York until age 18. In 1842, he entered the United States Military Academy at West Point, where he roomed with future Confederate General Thomas J. Stonewall Jackson. He graduated in 1846, ranked 33rd out of 59 cadets, alongside classmates like George B. McClellan and George E. Pickett. Mexican-American War, 1846. 1848. George Stoneman's role in the Mexican was his first significant military experience, marking the beginning of his 36-year career in the U.S. Army. Below is a detailed account of his involvement in the war, focusing on his specific contributions, context, and the broader scope of the conflict as it relates to his service. Mexican-American War. The Mexican-American War arose from disputes over the annexation of Texas by the United States in 1845, which Mexico considered part of its territory. Tensions escalated when President James K. Polk sent troops to the disputed border along the Rio Grande, leading to clashes in April 1846. The war, lasting from 1846 to 1848, involved U.S. campaigns in Mexico, California, and the Southwest, culminating in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which ceded vast territories including modern-day California, Nevada, Utah, and parts of Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Wyoming to the U.S. role in the war. Stoneman graduated from the United States Military Academy at West Point in 1846, ranked 33rd out of 59 cadets. On July 1, 1846, he was commissioned as a brevet second lieutenant in the 1st U.S. Dragoons, a cavalry regiment. He was assigned as quartermaster for the Mormon Battalion, a unique unit of approximately 500 Latter-day Saint volunteers raised for the war. The battalion was formed in Council Bluffs, Iowa, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Stephen W. Kearney, later succeeded by Lieutenant Colonel Philip St. George Cucurvis. With the Mormon Battalion, Stoneman's primary role was logistical, ensuring the battalion was supplied during its arduous march from Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, to San Diego, California, a distance of nearly 2,000 miles. This journey, undertaken between July 1846 and January 1847, is one of the longest infantry marches in U.S. military history. The Mormon Battalion was tasked with establishing a wagon route to California, supporting U.S. control of the region during the conquest of California. The battalion did not engage in combat, but played a critical role in securing the Southwest by constructing roads, building forts, and aiding in the occupation of California. Stoneman's duties included managing supplies, horses, and equipment under harsh conditions, including desert terrain and limited resources. His performance earned him recognition for diligence and organizational skill. Though he saw no direct combat promotion and continued service on July 12, 1847, Stoneman was promoted to full second lieutenant, reflecting his competent service after reaching San Diego in January 1847. The Mormon Battalion was discharged in July 1847, but Stoneman remained in California. He served in garrison duties, likely at posts like Los Angeles or San Diego, assisting in the pacification and easing of the newly acquired territory until the war's end in 1848. As quartermaster, Stoneman ensured the Mormon Battalion's survival during its grueling march, managing scarce resources across deserts and mountains. His work contributed to the battalion's success in reaching California without significant loss, securing California by supporting the Mormon Battalion's mission.
Stoneman
Indirectly aided the U.S. conquest of California, which was secured by forces under Kearny, Commodore Robert F. Stockton, and Colonel John C. Fremont by early 1847, early leadership experience. The war provided Stoneman with his first practical experience in military administration and cavalry operations, shaping his later roles in the Civil War and frontier service. Mexican-American War ended with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, February 2, 1848, which granted the U.S. approximately 525,000 square miles of territory. Stoneman's service in California positioned him in a region that would become central to his later career, as he returned to serve there in the 1850s and eventually settled there as Governor Frontier Service and Yuma War. 1848 to 1855 Stoneman served at the San Francisco Presidio 1848 to 1849 and fought in the Yuma War, participating in battles at Clear Lake and Russian River in California and Fort Orford in Oregon under Major General Percival Smith. He earned a reputation as a courageous and disciplined officer, caring for his men and animals. From 1850 to 1853, he conducted surveys in the Sierra Nevada and Coast Range for railroad routes, ordered by then-Secretary of War Jefferson Davis Promotions and Texas Service. 1854 to 1861, was promoted to First Lieutenant on July 25, 1854, and Captain on March 3, 1855. Stoneman was assigned to the 2nd U.S. Cavalry in Texas. In 1859, he campaigned against Juan Cortina's Mexican marauders. At the outbreak of the Civil War, he commanded Fort Brown, Texas, under Major General David E. Twiggs, a Southern sympathizer. Stoneman refused Twiggs' order to surrender to Confederate authorities, escaping north with most of his command's Civil War service. Stoneman's Civil War career was a mix of administrative roles, battlefield leadership, and controversial raids. Shaped by his health challenges and complex relationships with superior Civil War 1861 to 1862, returning east. Stoneman served as a major in the 1st U.S. Cavalry and adjutant to Major General George B. McClellan in Western Virginia. Promoted to Brigadier General of Volunteers on August 13, 1861. He became Chief of Cavalry for the Army of the Potomac. McClellan's misunderstanding of cavalry's role, dispersing it among infantry units, limited its effectiveness. Centralized Confederate counterparts, led by J.E.B. Stuart, outperformed Union cavalry during the Peninsula Campaign and 7 Days Battles 1862. After the Peninsula Campaign, Stoneman commanded infantry, leading a division in the 2nd Corps and later the 3rd Corps at the Battle of Fredericksburg, December 1862. He was promoted to Major General of Volunteers on November 29, 1862. Personal life on November 22, 1861. Stoneman married Mary Oliver Hardesty of Baltimore, with whom he had 4 children: George J., Adele, Catherine, and Cornelius, February 1863. Major General Joseph Hooker, recognizing the value of centralized cavalry, appointed Stoneman to lead the newly formed cavalry corps of the Army of the Potomac. Hooker tasked Stoneman with a daring raid during the Chancellorsville Campaign, April-May 1863, to disrupt Confederate supply lines and railroads behind Robert E. Lee's army. The raid aimed to distract Lee from Hooker's main assaults on January. Stoneman was assigned to command the cavalry corps of the Army of the Ohio under Major General John Schofield during William T. Sherman's Atlanta campaign. Promoted to lieutenant colonel in the regular army on March 30, 1864. He led a raid to free Union prisoners from Andersonville Prison July 31, 1864. Near Macon, Georgia, Confederate forces under General Howell Cobb and General Alfred Iverson trapped Stoneman's command. Despite a valiant stand by the 5th Indiana Cavalry Regiment, Stoneman and his aide, Miles Keogh, were captured. making Stoneman the highest-ranking Union prisoner of war. He was held for 3 months and exchanged on October 27, 1864. For Confederate Brigadier General Daniel C. Govan, thanks to Sherman's personal request. This incident further damaged his reputation. In early 1865, Stoneman was assigned to the District of East Tennessee under Major General George Thomas, tasked with a major raid to disrupt Confederate infrastructure. He led 6,000 cavalrymen from Mossy Creek, Tennessee, starting March 23, 1865, targeting railroads, bridges, and supplies in Virginia and North Carolina. Stoneman's forces captured Wilkesboro and Boone, North Carolina, and attacked Virginia towns, destroying the salt works at Saltville, Virginia, in December 1864. In April 1865, they razed Salisbury, North Carolina, a key Confederate supply hub, destroying rail lines, mills, and infrastructure. His command nearly captured Confederate President Jefferson Davis, who escaped just before Union troops burned the Reedy Fork Bridge. The raid covered over 1,000 miles, causing significant destruction and disrupting Confederate operations in recognition of his 1865 raid. Stoneman was brevetted Major General in the regular Army on March 13, 1865. For gallant and meritorious services in the field during the rebellion. Military career moved to California. Stoneman settled in California's San Gabriel Valley on a 400-acre estate. Los Robles. He served as a California Railroad Commissioner 1876 to 1878 and on the Federal Indian Commission 1878. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more military, Navy, and geopolitical updates.